what to truly expect in subsequent elections, especially in the month of September?
Yeah, but nice that finally they held the elections, but there are a lot of question marks on the elections. And if you take into cognizance a lot of things that have happened in the past, I think you begin to also ask questions, because if you remember at the Olympics, we saw what happened, how administrative lapses, affected the performances of our athletes. And it has always been, our undoing, because administration has always been the thing. Most times they destabilize, the unity of athletes. Imagine what Favor Philly went through, and we are still electing the same people that, saw through these mistakes. One was expecting that perhaps, that those who are going to come are going to be tested, passionate people that have the interest, the welfare of the athletes. But most times we make the same mistake and continue to move around in circles. I think that, it affects our performances most of the time. Administration has been our, highest bane in sports. And indeed, somehow recycling, bringing up the same people again, that also spoke a lot, during, before this election. And that's why you say that the election itself, was not a smooth election.
Interesting. Raymond, the build-up to the election, we know of several personalities who also threw their hearts in the ring. But at the 11th hour, some of these persons stepped away because they felt that it wasn't going to be a level playing field. Your take on the return of Tonobok Okowa, and if we're looking at the scorecard, is it truly the one to lead athletics in Nigeria to Eldorado?
Well, what else do I say than to say congratulations to Tonobok Okowa and his 11-man board? But definitely these are the same people who complain over about. Some people brought embarrassment to the nation before the Olympics, during the Olympics, and even now. Okowa was telling everybody after re-election that it's going to be a more organized AFN, more stakeholders are involved now, technocrats are involved. Would there not be quarrels again? Would there not be Favor Philly saga again? What's the assurance that we're going to get things going again? Perhaps beside the presence of Gabriel Okon, the former Nigerian athlete,
yeah.
I do not see new faces in that board. But, even the sports commission chairman, Shehu Diko, has congratulated them. And remember, we have said here that these guys who embarrassed us before the Olympics and during the Olympics should not be allowed to come in. I ran into Okowa during the National Sports Festival at Abeokuta, and of course, he was asking me some questions about my opinion. And I told you that was how I saw him. And so here he is, returning as a chairman of the president of the AFN. So it's obvious that, we don't really bother about track record in this country any longer. When things are bad, it should be seen as bad properly. But when the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, applaud the same set of people when there was no question about what happened in the Olympic Games and those embarrassments here and there, when our sports remain static, then that tells you that there's not much we'll say here to make any form of difference. But on Sports View, we'll continue to say it the way it is. Now they've given us the impression that whether things are bad or good, it's still same story, which is not good enough.
Let's put it out there, especially at this time, because the message has been sent out with what has played out in the AFN election, the build-up to subsequent Sports Federation election, especially in the month of September. What should we see differently, especially on the parts of the Sports Commission?
Yeah, Matthew, the Sports Commission is the supervising authority. And, for two people that we all have acclaimed that they've been around, and of course they know, we expect them to equally know as much as we know. I think that they should always guide and guard, most of these, people who are coming on board. And if indeed, we are recycling, and of course we are continuing, not making steps forward, instead going backwards, I think we need to retrace that step. And this is not just the time you want to favor somebody at the detriment of the nation. Joy just mentioned the fact of not, going for the World Championships. I think that's a very big minus for a country as good as Nigeria. And I think that those in authority, the NSC, Shehu Diko and Bukola Olopade, should have considered this so that we do not, make the same mistake and fall inside the same hole again.
Yes, aptly said by Tony Ubani. We must encourage